Welcome everyone. In this video we are going to look at roadside attractions. Hi everyone, Mark here, and in this video, as I said, we're going to look at roadside attractions. I'm going to take you all over. We're going to look at three things that I saw this year from Route 66, from Indiana, and from Florida. So we're going to be looking all across, at least east of the Mississippi. Those of you who watch my channel know that I love roadside attractions. But sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll see something, but it just won't fit the story arc. So I'll record it, but it never makes it into the video. And I have a lot of footage like this. So rather than dump it all into one big long video, which, let's face it, could get a little boring, I thought that these three were kind of fun. So we're going to go, as I said, to Route 66, where there's a really cool Abraham Lincoln roadside attraction. It's off the beaten path. It's a few miles off Route 66. Then we are going to go to Indianapolis, Indiana, where, one of my favorite things are Muffler Men. And then we're going to see a really interesting ice cream stand down near Orlando. I think it's in Kissimmee. So I hope you enjoy it. Will you look at the size of this wagon? Let's see who's riding in it. Why, it's none other than Honest Abe himself. And he's reading a law book. I'm just off historic Route 66, and behind me is the world's largest covered wagon, recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records. This is incredibly massive. These wheels have got to be 10 feet tall. This covered wagon is known as the rail splitter covered wagon. Of course, Abraham Lincoln was known as a rail splitter, and you can see on the side an axe and the title, Rail Splitter. And will you look at these benches? Do you suppose that these were split by the rail splitter axe? And this is the type of stuff you only see on historic Route 66. And here it is certified by the Guinness Book of World Records. I'm going to say goodbye to Abraham Lincoln and the world's largest covered wagon, but I'm not saying goodbye to the mother road, Route 66. Let's see what else we can find. Those of you who watch my channel know I have an interest in Muffler Men. Those are the iconic early 1960s fiberglass figures that, well, they're really tall. And if you saw my Gemini Giant video, you know a little bit about the Muffler Men. Well, I knew there was one in Indianapolis, and I found it. So I'm going to show it to you now. And there we go. There is Mr. Bendo. And we call him Mr. Bendo because that's what it says on his shirt. And as far as Muffler Men go, he's not in bad shape. He's not in bad shape, but you can see there's a little bit of damage. He's splitting. You can see there are some repairs along the boot. As we look at this boot, we see a large hole. And he really needs to be painted. There has been touch-up, but he's really flaking. But all in all, for a 50 to 60 year old piece of fiberglass, he's in really good shape. A little tender loving care, maybe some sandblasting, a few coats of paint, and he could be good as new. But what's unusual about Mr. Bendo? As you can see in the sign behind him, he lives at Ralph's Muffler, which initially you might think, well, that makes a lot of sense. He's a muffler man. Or is he? Well, first, let's begin by looking at the seams on his arms. You can see there's a seam right there. And as we look at the other arm, you see another seam. And the other thing that's unusual about Mr. Bendo is you can see he has a beard. And usually the beards were reserved for the lumberjack giants, the Paul Bunyans. It's really unusual to have a muffler man body and a lumberjack face, but there's more. It's that outstretched arm. Usually the muffler men do not have an arm reaching straight out like that, which is why I pointed out the seam to you. I've seen guesses on the internet. Some people have said, for example, maybe at one time he held something like a can of paint in front of a paint store. It's pretty reasonable. Other people have thought, well, maybe he is constructed from several pieces. Maybe he has a lumberjack head, a muffler man body, and the arms of the American Indian. Remember, if you look at the Gemini giant, the American Indian was standing with his hand outstretched. And another really weird thing is he is leaning so far away from the wall. I'm guessing part of that is because the pavement is slanted away from the building. But they have him strapped in good and tight. He's not going anywhere. Look at the size of that hand. What do you think the origin of Mr. Bendo is? Do you think someone found random pieces and built him? Or do you think maybe he was a special order designed to look this way? I have no idea, but I'm glad I came across him because I always enjoy seeing these iconic muffler men. Now that I look at him, he looks a little bit like Burt Reynolds. That's my look at some of the interesting things along the road in Indiana. I always knew Metropolis, Illinois had a giant Superman. What I didn't know is that it had a muffler man in front of its grocery store. This is really a big muffler man. I'm not sure, but I think it's bigger than the Spaceman giant. And as we walk up close to it, you can see it's in really good shape. It's well maintained. The paint is in excellent condition. This is easily one of the better muffler men that I've come across. This muffler man is in really good condition. What really interests me is that eye screw on top of his head. I wonder if that's part of how he was installed. Maybe suspended from a crane? Anytime I come across a muffler man, I just love it. And look at that, the muffler man actually represents the name of the store, Big John. And I love coming across them because they're really a piece of Americana. I'm at the Twisty Treat at Kissimmee, Florida, right down the road from Disney Springs, not too far at all. You know, I love these roadside attractions, and this is one of the best examples of the ice cream cone building that I have seen. I know there's another one right outside St. Louis on Route 66, but this one is still in operation. It's in really, really good shape. Right now it's got lights on it for Halloween, but let's take a little closer look and walk around the building a little bit. You can see it's painted to look like it has hot fudge, or maybe it's been dipped at the top. And the whole building appears to be made out of fiberglass. Twisty Treat. I think I misnamed it, Twisty Treat, but it's called Twisty Treat. Very well maintained. You can see there is a lot of colorful outdoor seating. And the interesting thing about this ice cream cone building is it has a drive-through. Let's take a look at that. And I don't know if the drive-through was added later or exactly how old this building is. I don't know if this is a retro building made to look like something that's old, or if it actually is a relic from the 60s, but I sure like the looks of it. I hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Well, you made it to the end, and you found the secret message. Alright, it's not really secret. I just want you to like, share, and subscribe. And click that bell icon so you know when we post new videos. I salute you.